Okay, now that we've created our buttons that do these things, let's go ahead and do a little bit more. First off, do you notice that this code is kind of all over each other? There's a way to actually clean this up, I think. If you hit Control and then click anywhere where the code isn't there, so Control and then click, you can say Clean Up Blocks, and it will organize the blocks for you, which just makes it a little bit easier to see. So the first button that we need to program is our More button. And what the More button needs to do is it needs to make clones of the little balls that are going to draw the squares. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create that clone. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a sprite. And the sprite that I'm going to choose is the ball. I want it to be a little bit smaller than this, so I'm going to make it a 50% size. So a nice little ball here. And this is called the parent ball. I'm going to make clones, but the parent ball I actually don't want to be present. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the parent ball. So I'm going to hit this, and then I'm going to say looks and hide. But what I want this button to do, the More button to do, is I want it to make clones of the ball. So I'm going to go click on my More button. And I'm going to say, when this sprite is clicked, do something else. So, oops, sorry, it's in events. When this sprite is clicked, make a clone of, it's in control, I believe. Yeah, create a clone of, and then you can choose what to make a clone of. I'm going to say, please make a clone of the ball. All right, so now with the ball, these clones are going to show up. So I'm going to say, when I start as a clone, I'm going to do something, which is I'm going to go to a random position. Go to random position. So let's go ahead and hit run. Our ball hides, and I hit More, and nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? I'm creating clones, but the reason why nothing happens is the clones that are created adopt the exact same characteristics of the parent. The parent is hidden, so the clones are hidden. So not only do I have to say go to a random position, but I also need to say show up. So I'm going to say show up. So now let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to hit More. And I can get a lot of these balls created, and they all go to random positions. Okay, that's really good. Now the next thing that I want to have happen is I want the balls to move in a square. So I'm going to say when I start as a clone, I'll use another one of these. Then forever, let's see, forever I want them to move in a square. So the way they're going to move in a square is I'm going to have them move a certain number of places and then turn 90 degrees. So I'm going to say motion, move 40 steps, and turn 90 degrees. Okay, let's see if that works. So if I hit More, yep, he moves in a square. Now one thing you may notice is that the square is going really, really fast because computers are really, really fast. So it's moving 40 steps, super fast, turning 90 degrees, moving 40 steps. I actually want it to be slower than this. So what I'm going to do is instead of moving 40 steps all at once, I'm going to do 10 times 4. It'll be the exact same thing, but check this out. You'll see it's going to look really different. So I'm going to say repeat 10 times, motion, move 4 steps. So if I get rid of this move 40 steps and replace it with this, the 10 and 4, it'll be the exact same mathematically, but it'll happen a lot slower. So check out what happens now. Notice that the 90 degrees has to be outside of that movement. So if I put it here, it's going to cause a problem. In fact, let's just see what happens. If I do put it there, it's going to be a mess. Okay, so it's turning all the time, but if I hit stop, take this 90 degrees out, put it here, and then hit More. Okay, awesome. So they're moving slowly. Now the other thing I want them to do is I want them to draw lines. I don't want them just to be rotating around little balls. I want them to actually draw lines too. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to introduce something called a pen, which is a new function. Scratch has a bunch of functions built in, but sometimes the function you need needs to be added with an extension. Pen is one of those things. So I'm going to click on Add Extension down here. and I'm going to say pen. So this gives me some new controls. So what I'm going to do is when I start as a clone, first I'm going to go to my random position, then I'm going to show up, and then after all that, I'm going to put the pen down. Let me show you what happens when you put a pen down. It's pretty cool. It's like dragging a pen along the floor. So let's go ahead and hit more. All right, so they draw nice little squares. They're always blue, and what I probably want is different colors for each ball. So I can actually do that too. So I'm going to set pen color. Do you notice that there are two different types of pen colors here? Set pen color to pick a color, literally, or set pen color to a number. Definitely choose the one with a number, not this one. This one's useless because the way this works is you have to actually specify the color. I guess it's useful for some things, but I prefer being able to choose a pen color. I'll show you why. Because what I want it to do is I want it to pick a random number. So I'm going to choose a number between 1 and, I don't know, 1,000. I have no idea how many pen colors there are, but I'm going to take this, and it's going to choose a random pen color for each clone. So let's see if that's any different. Check it out. Each guy gets their own pen color, or gal. Very pretty. All right, so far so good. I'm able to draw squares. Now one thing I notice is that when the ball hits the edge here, kind of messes up my squares. So you know what I'm going to have it do? I'm going to have it delete the clone if it's ever touching the edge. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to say when I start as a clone, forever, if I'm touching the edge, so I'm going to go to sensing. That's where you would sense if you're touching the edge. So if touching edge, then I'm going to delete this clone. Let's see, if touching edge. Delete this clone, so I need an if statement. If touching edge, delete this clone. It's in control, I guess, right? Yeah, delete this clone. So if it ever touches the edge, please die. So let's see if that works. I better clear all these things here. In fact, I probably should start that with the clear button. So let's go to the clear button and say when this sprite is clicked. So I'm in control here. Where the heck did that thing go? When this sprite is clicked, I'm a little colorblind, so I'm always having trouble between the orange and the yellow. Okay, when this sprite is clicked, and if I go to pen, I believe it erases all. Good, so it erases all. So let's go ahead and see what this does. So if I hit clear, it erases all. If I hit more, and you can see that when it hit the edge, this guy hit the edge over here, and that guy hit the edge, it deleted, which is exactly what I was hoping it would do. So ones that hit the edge, delete. Now another issue with my program is that all of them always make perfect squares. But I don't want them to always make perfect squares. Sometimes I want them to turn another 90 degrees. So how would I do that? So let's go to the ball. And instead of always turning 90 degrees, which is here, I'm going to say, I want just most of the time to turn 90 degrees. So I can do that with an if statement. If, and then I'll use an operator. Let me just build this for you and I'll explain what's happening. If pick random 1 to 10 is greater than 2, so that's most of the time, right? Turn 90 degrees. Okay, so let's now just see what happens. Hit clear. Okay. So it turns, oh, whoa, he made a new, right. Most of the time, the ball is following its normal course, but occasionally it does not turn because it only turns if the random number 1 to 10 is greater than 2. So if it's ever 1, it won't turn. So that means 10% of the time it's not going to turn, which is kind of what I'm interested in. I'm going to clean up the blocks. All right. Great. So now I can hit more of them. Awesome. All right, now let's go ahead and clear it. Oh, wait a second. When I hit clear, the lines all go away, but the little guys don't go away. So I somehow need to signal to these balls that they all need to die. So how do I do that? Let's see. I think I'm going to need a variable, what I would call a control variable. So let's go to my variables, and I'm going to create a new variable, and it's for all sprites. Everybody needs to be able to see this variable. And I'm going to call it clear screen. Okay? Now most of the time, clear screen should be set to 0. But if clear screen is ever set to 1, I want these guys to all die. So when should clear screen be set to 1? Well, it's when this sprite is clicked. Set clear screen to 1. Okay. Then, if I go here, if touching edge, I can say if touching edge or if clear screen equals 1, right? So that would be both of those things. So I can use an operator here. So this means one or the other. I'll take this, put it here. See how that lit up there? Okay, now it goes there. So if touching edge or, and I'll go to my variables, if clear screen equals 1. So if this is true or this is true, then delete this clone. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. So clear, more. Oh, look at that. Clear screen is set at 1 because the last time I ran it, obviously I set it to 1. So when the program starts at the very beginning, I better set clear screen to 0. So at the very beginning of the program, I better set clear screen to 0. So I'll do that right here at the very beginning of the program. Let's try that again. Oh, well, it works. And let's see, if I hit clear, yeah, they all disappear, except I can't make any more. Oh, I think I know what's happening. Clear screen is locked at 1. So when I go to the clear button, I better erase all, set clear screen to 1, and then quickly set clear screen back to 0. All right, let's see if that works. And then if I hit clear, they're not dying. You know, I think this is happening too fast. Clear screen is going from 1 to 0 too quickly. What if I put a delay in here? What if I say wait half a second? So that really these guys have a chance to see the clear screen goes to 1. So let's go ahead and hit clear. Yeah, that worked. I got rid of all of them. Except it looks like a few little extraneous lines are still left over from kind of as they were dying. You know what I better do? On the clear button, I better do erase all again after I do this. Just make sure that everything is erased. So I'll go back to pen and hit erase all, put it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if I did that. And run. You know, I also want to make sure that when I hit run, the screen is cleared. So I'm going to put another erase all right there at the very, very beginning. Okay, so let's go ahead here. And I can hit more. I got a lot of them. Hit clear. They're all gone, and everything's gone. I can hit more. Clear. Okay, so that's basically, well, I don't like, you know what? I don't like this clear screen here. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't want it to be seen. So I'm going to go to my variables, click on this, and get rid of it. So let's talk about the basic project. This is the basic project. You've got good user interface design because the buttons tell you what they do. You can clear everything, or you can hit more. You can clear everything. Okay. Now I'm going to show you some optional things, but I'm not going to tell you how to do them. So the optional stuff is all kind of cool and makes changes to this program. And the optional stuff is going to be ordered in terms of difficulty. So each optional thing I list for you is going to get harder and harder and harder. But first, let me save this video so that you can get started on the basic project.